How we doing? All right. Uh-oh. Hustle. Well, yeah. Well, that's why we're waiting. Hold on. You look like you went all out today, though. That doesn't look like a. Yeah. What do we got? Let's see. What'd you do for everybody? Like, Merry Christmas. I'm not. What do you guys got? I don't know what y'all want to talk about. Like, my mind's like. This time of year, you're like trying to, right? I mean, it's like juggling chainsaws or something, right? You're like, you got recruiting, game plan, and this, that, everything going on. We had graduation this weekend, developmental practices, recruiting going on, signing day coming up, new enrollees in, trying to game plan and figure out how to play Virginia, and then Orange Bowl scheduling. What am I getting my wife for Christmas? You know what I mean? They'd throw that in there too, right? I mean, yeah. Right? You recover from all the other things right there. That's a tough one. All right. What do you guys want to know about?
We'll start with the health of the team. Is everybody healthy, practicing?
Yeah. We got a couple guys that we've done. What we did. That's not proper English, is it? What we've done, rested a bunch of guys. Still guys a little banged up with bumps and bruises, but nobody that we expect to miss the bowl game. A bunch of guys still resting. That tomorrow really starts the practice. It's a little shift. The practice we've had a little bit more developmental based, trying guys out, and see what they do, and mixing up, shuffling some guys. A lot of young guys getting reps in there, spending some extra time on individual. I think there's a big transition phase for especially the young guys. Guys that really had minimal roles or were on the scout team a bunch this year. To get their mind, jump started getting into this offseason, because in January now they're into competing and going to play. So that's been up to now. Tomorrow you go back to game prep. So tomorrow's kind of the day for our guys that have played a bunch this season, where our target day to get guys back out on the field. One guy I think that still might be slow is Sean Davis, a little bit still nursing the hamstring. Everybody else should be ready to roll. That's moving on.
And is he the only guy skipping the bowl?
As far as I know, yes, but we haven't got the draft grades back on everybody. I think there's guys still waiting on the draft grades that way. But everybody else, is plans on play. I mean, we don't play for 2 weeks from today? Yeah, we got 2 weeks from today, and everybody else has been practicing, ready to go to play. So. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't see him being ready for the bowl. Bernie, I do. Bernie's practiced the last couple of days. So everybody, I think Moon. Still no. C.J. McWilliams. All the guys that have the season-ending guys. I don't expect back.
Do you have a number on the underclassmen? Do you encourage them to go to the NFL and get there? Whatever. Do you have a number of how many guys this year?
That we turned in the grades? I think we turned 5 in. You can turn 5 in, and you can petition for more with specific reasons. I talked to the guys and try to limit it to 5. So I think it was 5, but we'll see. That was a couple, that was like, we did it the day after the Florida State game, like the first day possible to turn stuff in so we can get them back as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. He's practiced the other day. We expect him out of practice today. We expect him to play and be healthy. He said he feels really good. And so we expect him to come out and have a big game for us.
Because you've got a lot going on, it's kind of hard to reflect that.
catch my breath and reflect for you.
Now, these guys, most of the players on this team 2 years ago didn't go to a bowl. They didn't get the swag. They didn't get, pampered and everything. And now they've gone to 2 or 6 bowls. What is that?
Well, it says a lot about the guys that were here. You know, there were some talented players here, that really bought into what we're trying to do, have worked hard to continue to be developed, and want to finish their careers the right way. And you look at, last year's, you look at where it comes to leadership within the team. Leadership's got to buy in, and leadership kind of sets that bar for you. And, the older guys have bought in what we're trying to do. There were some talented guys here that bought into it, and, they've had good leadership. We've faced different types of adversities over the last couple of years, but they've really worked at doing things the right way. We had a bunch of guys. What was our total number of guys graduate? 16 players? We had 16 of them. I thought it was 12. That's even more. I must have missed out on one or two guys. It was 4 walk. Was it 4 walk-on guys? I was just maybe counting scholarship guys. But if you look at that, of guys living up to what the Gator standard is and what the expectations are and buying into every aspect of the program, guys graduating with master's degrees, guys coming out playing at a high level, no matter what the adversity or the successes that we were dealing with, they continued to battle, continue to improve, continue to get better. And we were able to, to reap the rewards of that as a football program, getting to our second straight New Year's Six bowl game.
Yeah,
We're screening you.
how will Anthony
That's
Anthony
right.
Richardson and 2 other early enrollees most benefit from these 15 practices?
Well, it's not 15.
Oh, is it? How many they get?
Let's see. There's not a set number. You have as many as you want, depending on when you play. But we'll have 4 developmental, 4 here, 3 at the bowl site, and then a walkthrough practice. Right? So I guess 4, 12 we'll end up having. If you count the walkthrough practice. I think the benefit is for those guys. One, it's kind of fun. They get out here and have a good time. 2, they get to they'll a little bit of a jump start. So at least when we get out for our first practice in spring, they've been at a practice before. They know where to stand in stretch lines. They kind of know where to run to on the field with the drills. And, they've kind of heard some things moving into it. And they've been thrown in the fire a little bit. They were getting reps out of practice. With the I don't know if we threw any of them in with the 1s, but they were in with the 2s, getting reps, and right. So I think it's an interesting, different, unique learning experience for them to see kind of what the program's about and get a little taste of the football side of things in a fun way before they show up on campus and get into the off-season program in January.
Have you had a quarterback in this early ever?
Yeah.
I mean, Tim Tebow was
Nick Fitzgerald did. He graduated early, came in. I'm not sure if Dak did. We've had quarterbacks come in though and do this before.
How's that process? I didn't know you could do it.
Oh, it was pretty good.
Someone told me about on the golf course, ironically.
Shocker. You kind of laugh at them. Hey, we got to teach them how to just say the cadence to even snap the ball. Brian and John kind of because the lineman and quarterback are up there kind of coaching them what to do as they break the huddle. But, but they do it. I think Keaton Thompson did it too for us. I think he got in early to practice. But, it's kind of fun. They get some individual work. They get to hear some terminology and do it. And seems like they're having a good time.
Felipe announced that he was either going to the NFL or grad transferring right after the FSU game. When did you have a conversation with him, and how did that come about?
We met before that, and and talked about, hey, let's wait till after the game because I know, knowing him, his number one focus was being on winning the game. It's just still because, I mean, just a great leader for the team and the program. Then we had the discussions a little bit before and afterwards about his future and what the best way to do everything is. And, and he's a guy saying, hey, Coach, I'm not leaving because I don't love Florida. I'd love to be at Florida. I want to look and explore every one of the options I have to see because I have potentially 1 year of college football left, and or I leave to go to the NFL, see where his draft grade comes back. And I just want to see what all those opportunities are for me, especially as a guy that's graduating, where instead of coming into a quarterback room where we have a bunch of depth and guys are competing to go play, where I might have the opportunity, if I do play college football next year, to just that I'm the guy. And because I think all the quarterbacks have a great relationship. So it's kind of what the best way to add it up for everybody is.
What are you losing, I guess, from a presence that he had with the team? What are you losing in his transfer?
No, I mean, nothing. The other guys have stepped up, you know what I mean? And they continue to be great leaders. But, I mean, I love Felipe. I mean, he loses his smile, his personality. He's pretty funny in the meetings, and just great guy to be around. I mean, that's what you do. I mean, you have the relationship with these guys. But I know everybody on our coaching staff, everybody within the program, everybody on the team just really wants, we want the best for all of our guys, and especially a guy like Felipe, and who's battled adversity, has come back and had a lot of success, and, had to deal with, obviously, a tragic injury like that. But, we want the best for him.
And do you play any role in helping him find the landing spot wherever it may be?
Yeah, I mean, we do. I mean, we help. We're here to guide him. I'm not telling him where he has to go or what he should do. I mean, those are decisions for him. But we're here, and we're, certainly helping him. I mean, everybody that's called of us, we couldn't recommend him higher to anybody to go as a guy that's going to come in and not be worried about. I mean, he's played on the biggest of stage. He's got a lot of talent. He's a tremendous leader. He's a great team guy. So everybody that's called, I mean, it's all, hey, this is a guy that you'd want in your program.
Dan, I know you don't pay attention to a lot of what's said about there in terms of recruiting and whatnot, but you seem to close pretty well since you've been at Florida. What do you think it is about your staff, your program, what you're selling that's allowed that?
Well, I don't know. I think guys, we have, our all of our assistant coaches, our recruiting staff, everybody works really hard. I think a lot of players now a lot of young men over the last 2 years, when you look at the big picture of what their decisions are about, they look at the success that the program's had, right? I mean, I don't know if you go into last year, we finished a lot higher ranking than anybody projected us to go finish, right? I think there are a lot of people projecting us this year. Hey, they might be a 6-6 team, and here we are in our second straight New Year's Six Bowl. So I think a lot of the recruiting aspect of that out there is a lot of these young men are looking and saying, hey, this program's way further ahead than people thought they were. They're having a lot more success than people thought they were. They're closer to being a championship team than a lot of people thought they were. I'm going to have the opportunity to come in and play for a SEC and national championship at the University of Florida, play in one of the top programs in the country. On top of, then you throw in the academic school, because I think, right now after this regular season, right, we're still the only top 10 academic school that's finished in the top 10 in the rankings 2 straight years now. And so, I think when you combine that, that's what makes Florida such an attractive place for a lot of these high-quality guys. But, it's one thing to say, okay, hey, they're a great academic school, but where's football at? Or they're just great at football, not great at academics. We're the one that's great both, and I think they've seen that us continue to improve. I think we jumped a spot academically, and obviously second straight 10-win season that it makes it a lot attractive, and I think that's more the close of guys looking at the reality of the situation maybe than what the perception was at the beginning of recruiting.
With coaching carousel this time of year as well, do you expect much, if any, turnover, guys?
For our guys? Yeah, I don't. But the college ones seem to slow down or be short-lived or not a real dramatic turn this year. The pro carousel hasn't started yet, but I for our guys. But I think a lot of, I think our guys really enjoy being here. You're at the premier university. I have a lot of guys that have been with me for a long time, and I think the quality of life that our coaches have, the direction the program's headed, the opportunity to live here in Florida, right? I mean, Most people are trying to work really hard to move to Florida. When they retire, we already live here. Right? Wasn't that like a Coach Spurrierism? Right? So I think guys a lot of our staff really enjoys being here. I think even with the coaching collar itself, there's one thing I am disappointed. I would have thought our guys maybe we had a couple guys get calls, but for head coaching jobs. But I think we have some really qualified coaches here to be that would be great head coaches. That I think people maybe are missing some opportunities on. But I think, for guys that leave to be assistants other places, I think this is the premier place. So I don't, most of them are really happy being here.
When guys do get those calls for those head coaching jobs, do you encourage or try to discourage them maybe taking guys from your staff with them? No,
absolutely. For our guys, if they get the opportunity to go be a head coach, one, I encourage them to we do everything we can to help them, to put them in that position to go become a head coach. And then I certainly hope if it's an advancement for somebody on our staff, that they take people with them that would advance their careers.
And then when your name gets thrown out there for some of those pro rumors, do you address that with the team?
Not really. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal that people pay much attention to be honest with you, within the program. I haven't seen a whole lot of it. I think our guys know I plan on being here for a long time, and I love being here. And so they, I think that probably makes some of them, nervous. I tell them that all the time. I say, I look at the young guys and say, well, Freddie Swain might not be here, but I'll still be here next year. So they laugh at that. I think anytime your name gets brought up with other jobs, a lot of times it's a compliment. It means you're doing well. I dealt with it for years and years and years at Mississippi State. Your name would get brought up for things. I think it's something that means you're doing well within a program. So I think you look at it. I look at it in those terms. But I think everyone knows I plan on being here for a long time.
You have no NFL aspirations? It's the ultimate spot for the players.
Yeah, but like I said, when I said this, someone asked the other day, and I said, we'll see. I still haven't had a second to even consider it of what it would entail, right? I don't know. I know what I have here. I love being here. I think we're building a championship program here. At some point in my life, would it be something if I wrote it all down and sat it down to consider it, then that would happen. But it's nothing I'd even thought of. How I know how it works here. I like it here. I'm kind of so I don't make it too big, but you're kind of the owner, GM, vice president, and head coach here. So I got a lot of control in how the program works here, and you're in control of everything. So that's why I think that's why everybody looks at it and knows the situation that we're in, knows what type of program this is. This is not a place you're looking to leave.
Sorry. So I have another coach question. The obligatory Tampa question. Do you know Jeff Scottwell, the new USF coach?
No.
No, I haven't interacted with him. So then just kind of really switching gears.
Sorry. I didn't know that helped you.
Did you guys Mike Norvell at the new Florida State coach?
I'm more familiar with him. I don't know him real well, but I'm just more familiar with him. I think he's, you look at the success he's had, did a great job at Memphis. With that program, I think that's, I just more familiar because I know the Memphis program being at Mississippi State for a long time, and you look at the last two coaches and how that, I think the school's done a great job at Memphis, building the program up, and they've brought in some quality coaches there that have helped the program out over the last couple of years, and he had obviously did a really good job there.
Sure. And this is a weird one I'm going to make you think.
Okay.
Your first class here, with the early signing period, not much time to prepare, how do you think that compared, kind of attrition and everything else, with your first classes everywhere else?
Boy. That's hard to say. I don't even remember. I do know this, however the calendar worked, I was fortunate with that early signing because I think it was like this week was one less. This week's one of those weird years. I had an extra week. So I got hired the Monday to start the recruiting cycle, which had a 3-week cycle, if I'm not mistaken, like 3.5 weeks before signing day. So you had a little bit of a chance to really get to know everybody and go recruit some as best you can. So, but a bunch of those guys are doing pretty well for us. They seem to. We'll see.
Back to your future. You are the BMOC, but you have a boss. Have you had any discussions with your boss about a contract extension?
Very, very, very briefly. Not a whole lot. I mean, maybe not into really contract extension. Into hey, you're doing a great job. We want you here at Florida. So I feel pretty good about my job security in the short term, anyway. And. You know what? It's kind of been funny, but if you look for, for us right now, getting through the season ends, immediately into recruiting, signing day coming up, bowl game, and I know Scott's been on the CFP, everything's running around. I will say this. I think after the bowl game, everyone have a chance to kind of catch their breath and figure out where we're at and evaluate the whole, for everybody. I mean, even me, evaluating where we are as a program. We got to sit down and do that and really look back at every little aspect of the program where we're at.
What do you think of Lane Kiffin being back in the SEC? You get to play him next year.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. No, I like Lane. I think Lane's a great football coach, does a great job. Obviously has great personality and is a fun personality. In college football, obviously, there was the rating system they put out the other day. People they'd go to Vegas with him over me. I think I'm a good time guy though. I have a lot of fun too. I'm obviously not on. What is he? Might not be Joey Freshwater fun, but right? Is that what? No, but I think Lane, huh? Yeah. That might have something to do with it too. I think Lane's a really good football coach, does a great job, runs the program really well, has a lot of personality. Be a big challenge for us because he's going to walk into a team that's got some talent. They had some, I didn't get to see a lot of them, but I saw they looked like they had some young, explosive, talented players at Ole Miss. So I think good situation and obviously always brings some entertaining and exciting things into the league. He was in. Yeah, I saw that. Like him, I didn't get. Someone showed me the tweets. I probably didn't follow the whole strand to get it, but I saw him at Bryan Field there, landing the plane at the airport there in Stark Vegas.
To the game, the Orange Bowl game for a sec.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
we're playing a game.
Bryce Perkins seems to be one of the better dual threat quarterbacks in the country. What's the challenge he poses, and maybe a couple other guys that kind of just stand out?
Well, I think
on film.
he's one that really jumps out to you because one of the things we talked about. You watch him from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, and he's done a great job. I know they have a great coaching staff, really good football coaches there, and you can see that by the improvement he's made from the beginning of the year to the end of the year in the throw game. Really becoming a really good passer by the end of the season. And you watch offensively everything. They build everything through him. It goes through him and what they do. And, obviously he's a dynamic runner. He can extend plays in the pass game. He can run the read option plays. He can run the direct quarterback runs, and he can run the ball by extending and scrambling plays, and is a great threat in all three. Now you add on top to it, he's really kind of developed as a passer as well, and they have some good weapons on the outside to get the ball to. Makes them a very dangerous offense. You see that with the points they've scored as the year's gone on. They've gotten better and better and better and more explosive. So it's going to be a big challenge, for us. They're a very good football team, very disciplined, very well coached, play extremely hard. With some talented players that you can see really have bought into what they're trying to do. Very similar probably to where we are. And, with guys buying in and doing what Bronco's trying to build there. And obviously a huge game for them. When I think this is their first trip to the Orange Bowl. And, that builds and brings even that extra excitement for the guys in their program. So, We got to come out and get ready to play. Well, I mean, they got some guys that have length off the edge. They got some edge players with some real length. I think it's we were just watching all 14 and 11. I mean, they got some guys that can come off the edge. I'm more number-based. Physical, downhill playing, linebackers, and then they rotate the guys through on the D-line that have some playmakers. I know they've dealt with some injuries on the back end, but I think as the year's gone on now, they've started to settle in, those guys being more confident and playing on the back end for them.
A bowl game is a reward for a good season. How do you balance the fun part and also being serious about getting ready for a game?
Well, I think that's always a challenge, and I talk to our team about that constantly. But we do try to make it fun. Now, I mean, if you look, everything about the schedule is to not make it grinding at all for the players, but to make it. But when it is time to work, we work. And talk to them constantly. There's plenty of time off. We're going to give them lots of free time, both here and when we get to Miami. But when it's time for football, we are completely locked in. The bowl experience is awesome, but the bowl experience is always better when you win the game. Just your even memory, everything about the game is better when you win. And so, with that being said, our guys have got to make sure they're locked in to when it's time for football, it's time for football. In our preparation, we're completely locked in. There'll be plenty of time to have fun, but we're locked in when it's time to be locked in.
Dan, is there any concern at all that, obviously last year you're playing Michigan, highly ranked team. This year it's a team that's barely in the rankings. And as far as getting your guys up for this game in terms of
not as
they're
much because
playing?
I think you look at this is a team that played for their conference championship, and still won their division. And when you're able to look at those things of what they did, I think Michigan got in like us last year, right? They were at large like us. So they kind of got in at large. This is a team that, had an automatic bid playing for their conference championship. So I think that's just a little different deal for our guys and getting ready to play. I think one of the big keys of the bowl game, too, it's not always your opponent, it's you. You're going to look, it's been a month since we played a game. Do we have that mental and physical toughness within our how we prepare and how we go execute in the game when we haven't been, when you're not, you kind of in-season routine of going every week. You take all this time off. Do you have the mental and physical toughness to prepare and execute at an extremely high level? And I think you'll see that in a lot of bowl games. It's not always just your opponent. It has a lot to do with yourself as a team to have success in bowl games.
I think it was your first signing class was the first time you had this early signing period, and it was kind of the wild, wild west. You didn't really know what it was going to be. A couple years in now, how has it changed? How have you guys adapted to it, and how is it different than what it was before?
I think it's similar. I think everybody's just more comfortable with how the whole thing works right now and the scheduling, how to go do everything. I think it's great. I think obviously it was put in place as a benefit for the student athletes, that there was something that they really wanted. And so I think you see the benefits of that. And, for the coaches, I think it is a benefit. Guys that are ready to sign and they sign are ready to go. You know where you're going to school. And then you get to see, where your number's at for the second signing day in February of, hey, where you're going to fill in the gaps.
Big picture, college coaches. We haven't seen a lot of guys go to the NFL lately.
Yeah.
Since I don't even think maybe since Pete Carroll.
No, what's his name went last year?
Well, he got fired.
Well, he went from college to the
I'm talking about
NFL.
leaving a college program to take a head coaching job in the NFL. Yeah, I don't know if we've seen it. We haven't seen it in a long time. But do you think now we're seeing more and more spread stuff in the NFL?
Yeah.
Could you see that becoming a little bit more of a trend? And also, do you think would you feel at all disingenuous, like after signing day, leaving for a pro? Like, could you see coaches maybe thinking, okay, I just signed 25 guys.
Yeah, I think that. I think, you look at the opportunity we have for this signing class and what the future of this program is. Like I said, I plan on being here, what we're building, a long time. And I think a lot of coaches look at it that way. I don't know. I think in every level, I think coaching hires go in cycles, right? In college, it's like, hey, who's the hot coordinator? Right? Okay. Then, no, it has to be guys with head coaching experience. The next, there's like 3 years of hot coordinators. There's 3 years of who's a guy with head coaching experience. There's, this is a big year. We want defensive guys. You need a defensive head coach. And then, 3 years later, you got to score points and have an offensive head coach. And I think at every level maybe goes through those cycles. But I do think that, when you look at the offense, I think, you go back 15 years ago now we were running the spread offense. And, boy, that spread offense is great in the Mountain West, but it'll never work in the SEC, right? And then all of a sudden, okay, well, that spread offense works in college, but it'll never work in the NFL. And so I think yeah, but I mean, but it's not just one version of it. The Patriots been running the spread offense for 15 years now, you look at the success they've had. There's, you can vary it slightly. I mean, our version of the spread varies a little bit from year to year, not our overall philosophy. You look at where it is, and we're throwing the ball. And some year, we have one of the top tight ends. Our tight end is such a huge part of the package in the throw game this year. Sometimes they block a little bit more. Our running back was more in the pass game than the running game this year, and how we spread receivers. And so I think there's the different variations of it. But I think that spread throughout has probably made it more balanced with even the communication and the talking as coaches kind of talk and share ideas with each other at every level. I think that's changed. Yeah, absolutely. Who?